How are you today? Well, the Schumann resonance. Here we are once again to talk about these energies. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I finally have gotten the insight after all the events in the Schumann, or lack of being able to see the events. And so I wanted to share with you today what I have interpreted and what I've come to about where the chart's at and where the energies are at. So it's very exciting. And if you could subscribe to the channel and like the video, I would really appreciate it. That helps a lot. I'm going to be offering the next Human Energy Workshop in October. That's actually not that far away now. Probably the second week or so I'll start. I'm going to put a page up on my website. If you've already contacted me, then and you want to be in the class, then consider yourself in, and I will, if you're interested, send me a note and I'll just put my email below. Okay, so I wanted to talk with you about the chart and then just give an overview of the energies. So essentially, the patterns that we were tracking, the vertical waves starting between 9 and 10 a.m., that pattern is virtually gone. It only appeared again a couple of times, and that is September 16th and 19th, okay, after the 7 days of missing data. The data disappeared after significant extended geomagnetic storms in the atmosphere. And as soon as I started recording, someone outside has decided to use an electric blower or a gas blower. I don't know. All right, so we're just going to continue. So the chart data disappeared midday on September 6th, and then it reappeared starting midnight on September 13th. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to tell you what just happened in a second, but it is so perfect with what I was going to say about the energies. To me, it's divine confirmation, and it just gave me actually an even deeper insight into what I think is going on here on the chart, because you see, there's almost nothing, right? The patterns on the chart, it's been hard to make any sense of them in the past few days. And as I said, after the data disappeared mid-September 6th, and then it was just back, the full chart, at midnight on September 13th. So we just don't know what happened in that 6.5-ish days. But during that time, there were CME impacts on the atmosphere from the geomagnetic storms. And in fact, prior to the data disappearing, there were geomagnetic storms for, like a day and a half in a row. That's very unusual. So whatever happened knocked us off the previous repeating energy patterns. And I made a comment on YouTube and Telegram about, there was a bar up here, okay, right now where we have these horizontal lines. There had been a bar of green for hours, and there was a bar of red and yellow, and then there was a bar of white. And that kind of looked like a saddle. And so what I said was, get ready to ride. And so it just all folds in so perfectly. So whatever happened, it's like it gave us the ability to just clear and refresh and even restart the patterns that were existing in our brainwaves from close to 0 to 8 hertz. So that is primarily our unconscious and our subconscious. So I want to talk about the effect on human energy now. Okay, so let me make this just a little bigger. Yeah, because we're still getting some of these vertical lines come through quite a bit, in fact. It's just that they're kind of all over the chart in terms of what hours they start at now, whereas they had been repeating at a similar, between 9 and 10 a.m. previously. Now that energy, I think, still affects us, and I will be doing a video on that because I did an astrological interpretation. But first, let's just go over the concepts. So this is what I think happened, okay? We experienced a repeating pattern. That was 18 days of the vertical wave starting between 9 and 10 a.m. And then there were some smaller geomagnetic storms. It would interrupt it, the pattern would go back, interrupt, the pattern would go back, but then huge big storm and data down, okay? But during the pattern, the vertical wave pattern, we got into an energetic groove. And it feels to me like when the big sun energies, solar energies, and could be from the energies, strange energies from space, could be from the cosmos, but we got shooken out of the routine energy pattern we were in rather dramatically, energetically. That's how it felt to me. So now things may feel chaotic. They may feel emotionally, mentally, physically down or depressed, or like it's almost like we got knocked down, right? If you get knocked down accidentally, or one time when I was in school and much younger, there were two guys fighting, okay, and they were just so focused on the fight, they accidentally, I got thrown against the lockers at school, and it just took my breath away for a moment there. I was like in shock. They carried on fighting down the hall, but I just was in shock, right, for a moment there. And I had to, it's like your breath gets knocked out and you have to recatch your breath. And that's a lot like what's happened during this whole COVID thing for 2.5 years now, right? We got the breath knocked out of us, especially if you got it. You know that it was, if you got the version that was extremely intense for the lungs. So, which I did get. Yeah, I did get that. Thankfully survived that. Okay, so so here's the thing, okay? However you may feel, and all of us are going to experience this different ways, but there's an aspect of missing the previous pattern, okay? And it's a strange thing, but I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. Even if something has been in your life, but it hasn't been a positive influence, even if it's been a negative influence, but it was there kind of constantly, then when it disappears, it's like you miss it, okay? Even if there's a relief that it's gone, your physical body, your energy system is used to experiencing that every day or however often, okay? And so, and if it's a positive experience, and absolutely, right, we're really missing it then. But this is the idea of habits in human beings. And so it's like, I feel like what has happened this summer is a microcosm of what has happened to humanity. We didn't know that we were in some kind of repeating pattern. And most people call this the matrix, okay? Most people call this the matrix now, or, the influence of, the 0.01% or the deep state or whatever it happens to be, okay? Depending on how many hundreds of years we go back, right? Whatever the true history is of humanity. But we know now that we've been under some kind of influence, and that this influence upon us has used repeating patterns to keep us in line, to keep us confused, to keep us dependent upon their provision of, oh, I'm going to rescue you by doing this. This is truly the savior program, right? I'm going to help you by doing that because you're downtrodden after I just swept your legs out from under you, but let's hide that information in the background, right? So it's like humanity we've been in this cycle of connection with beings appearing human or whatnot, okay? that have affected us this way. And now it seems to me that we are energetically getting knocked out of that pattern. It does not have to repeat anymore. No matter how many times we are told that this is the plan for 20 whatever, whatever year, this is the plan, you will have to do this, no, I do not consent. If you hear anything like that, yeah, from the center of your being, say you don't consent. If you don't like what you're hearing, report it to God. Tell God, this is not how I want my life to be, how I want my planet to be. Pray about it. I mean, these things, engaging with the force of divinity within you is so impactful. It truly is. And it's an energy. It is directed energy. So, when I write about topics like maybe it was a couple of years ago. No, gosh, it was longer than that now. We had the fires in California. Oh, it was so horrible. But people were talking about directed energy as a weapon, and that's possible. And of course it is, if you just look at any of the websites of different defense contractors. But the fact is, okay, and maybe that's also being used to protect us. I don't know. Who knows what the details are. But let's stay focused on what we can control. We can live our lives as human beings. And what we can control is we can set intentions, right? We can take actions in the world. We can pray. We can whatever. But prayer is a directed energy. And I have 2 videos on how it works, how prayer is a directed energy, and specifically how it creates, how we work with the Creator, the divinity itself, to create, right, in alignment with divine will through us. And when we're doing that, we are expressing our hopes and dreams, our desires for our highest outcomes. So here's what happened. All right, related to the Schumann, we got knocked out of a pattern. It feels like, what is going on? It feels, I want to say, disingenuous. It feels, oh my gosh. So when you're in a pattern, it can have a disingenuous nature if it's been forced on us. But you see, now that we're in the chaos of the pattern breaking, we have the choice to create anew. We can pick up the pieces. Okay, we missed the previous pattern, but we can pick up the pieces and start again, and taking the best, right? And the best, that which is going to survive, is that which is God connected, that which is at the highest levels of divinity through us, of love, of joy, of companionship, of the brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. And we usually use the white resonances to represent this. Now, is the chart going to go all white and we're going to go to 5D? No, I don't see how that happening. Because I'll tell you what, I've thought about this a lot. We're in the physical form. And to me, the greatest adventure is bringing these expanded energies into this form, into the physical. And the thing is we have a lot of habits to bust. So let me talk about this in an illustrated way. We have the ancient influences on us, wherever they came from. We can choose that our moving forward creations and life does not include these influences. And the key place to start for that is within our own selves. When you claim back your own human energy, the connection you have with your soul and your human energy field, and you disallow the parasites, the energy vampires, and so on, from sucking you dry, you know, stealing your energy, and convincing you to create in ways that are not in alignment with your truth, your highest good. Because that's one of the things that's going on right now. These energies are attempting to gain our attention again to get us back in the pattern they had us in. And we can say no. You know, in saying no, this, and in choosing something different, something new, when we remove the energy parasites from our field, when we remove the attachments from energetic vampires, okay, and when we claim our humanity and the connection with our living soul, what happens is we end up having to face the shadows in our own life, the traumas, the darkness, the low emotions, the anger, the sadness, the depression, the pain. But the rewards for doing this are great. You know, we can take with us that from the past that worked for us, that from the past and from tradition that is enduring, because our cultures are based on traditions. And can we find the traditions and bring those forward with us that support human life and human community and human family, and express them in a new way? Express them for the life that we are in now. We have the opportunity to step through the doorway of the old, to walk through the portal. And again, that doesn't happen in some dramatic way outside us. The greatest drama is within. We step through and connect with the portal of our own soul. And this is what lifts us and was what lifts us up to higher creation and a higher ability to express that is in alignment with our highest outcomes. To do that, we connect with the divinity within that we are, because you are a living child of the Creator. You are your own soul in human form. You just don't remember, right, what it was like before being human. But sometimes you may get a sense of it, you know, in those special moments of connectedness, whether it's in prayer, whether it's in meditation, whether it's doing energy work, whether it's communing with nature, right? And we regain our strength. We regain our masculinity if we're men, right? We regain the strength of manhood, and we relearn what it is to express that in our highest ways, in alignment with our highest outcomes, and we become strong men again. And if we're women, we support our men becoming strong men again, or we support them in the strength that they are. We reclaim our femininity and the divine feminine within us. Okay, and that supports, honors, respects, and balances the divine feminine within our men. And we express our divine feminine, right? And we reclaim that back, and our ability to express it as women, which we have been convinced we should not be doing. But it's taken me years to even understand as a woman what femininity is and what truly being a woman is, because for me it skipped a generation, you know, and I didn't have enough exposure to my grandmother, although I had some, because that was taken from us. But I've had the blessing of female friends who know feminine traditions, right? Who understand the old ways of femininity and have been able to teach me those. And I just feel so blessed by this. And then here I am expressing it in a new way, right? In a new way for this time. But honoring the divine feminine, connected within with my own soul, and wishing choosing and asking to bring through divinity through me to the best that I can, right? And express that in living human life. And in doing so, right, support good men, support family, support community. I mean, this is the crux of human life and human nature. And this is what we build to carry us forward. And it's the men who protect us in doing this, but it's the women who set the tone for this. And when women have been sort of taken out of that and told that we have to do 100 other things that don't relate anything to that, you don't have the time, right, to do that. This has been such a long journey for me personally, but that's a story for another day. We partner with divinity, right? We partner with divinity to build the new, to allow that energy to grow in us and flow through us. And when we do that, there is no room for energetic parasitism upon us. There is no room for energetic vampires to attach. And we honor the sacrifices and the hopes and dreams and prayers of those who came before us. For those who gave their lives for us to have the opportunity to live now, be now, act now at this critical time in human history. It's an honor to be here and to be alive and to get to participate. I know that many people are having, great difficulties, but the challenges that you are going through are part of the whole story. It's not just about people doing X or people doing Y. It's all of us together. How I view it is that we're all sort of gears in this great big machinery of humanity, and every one of us matters, and the challenges that each one of us is having matters. And we lift ourselves up, and we lift each other up. And when we don't have the energy to engage with anyone else, we can allow ourselves to receive encouragement from each other or from others, or assistance, or even help. Imagine that you receive help from someone. A lot of us aren't really or have a hard time doing that. And when we have extra, we encourage others, and it feels so good to do that. And the honoring of divinity, right? The honoring of God the Most High, the creator of the universe, the honoring of the spiritual in human experience. To me, that's critical. And there's direct attempts to take this from us. But this is core to being human. Every human culture honors divinity. I mean, you go back through, anywhere on the earth, going back in time, right? There's a desire within the human to connect with divinity. And why is that? It's because it's a natural part of who we are. It is not separate from us. And in my view, just looking at the cross of Christianity here, okay? Why isn't the cross equidistant, right? Why is the cross essentially a double length on the downward pointing side? To me, what this says is that the connection with divinity, okay, is to allow us to ground and bring this into the earth, into humanity, into ourselves. We are the living earth in form, powered by the soul, which is our own life force. So I wanted to tell a story of what just happened when I started to record the video. There's a nice man who was doing some work outside, and he was cleaning. And so I just asked him if he would clean because he was doing it anyway. And I said, would you mind just cleaning the cobwebs from my roof also? Okay. Because I have been thinking about doing it, and I just, I usually try to keep it tidy outside, but It's been, oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, and I hadn't swept the outdoor deck, and there's a bunch of leaves piled up, and I know that I've had to deal with the spiders, but spiders are, I honor them and the web of life that they weave, but they do kind of freak me out so sometimes. And I also like to leave them up there for the birds, because the birds come and eat the spiders off of the webs. But anyway, he was doing it anyway, and I just asked, "Would you mind?" And so it took him like 10 minutes, and he just knocked all the webs. But then there was all this stuff in the air, right? Because he's just cleaning all around here, and there's all this stuff in the air, and there's all this stuff on my deck now on top of the leaves. Now there's all these, all these old spider webs and cobwebs, and who knows whatever else was up there. And I just thought, okay, after I do the video, I just got to go out and clean outside. And what happened? Okay, I start the video, and I heard the blower, but I just didn't think anything of it. And suddenly the man is on my deck, just blowing everything off. And I didn't ask. I didn't, expect it. I thought I was going to do it myself. But yet he just came, and my deck is totally clean. It's probably the cleanest it's been in 3 weeks. And it's amazing. And that's what I was going to say. I think that the energies of the Schumann, it's a microcosm of what is happening for humanity, and maybe even what is going to happen. I feel like this ancient pattern I talked about, that God, and I used the sun energies. The sun energies came and messed up the pattern. Maybe it was cosmic too, I don't know. But the energies came, right? The natural forces came and messed up the pattern on the Schumann. You messed it up. But these are natural forces. These are, in my view, they're of divinity, right? All of creation is of the Creator. And then it just swept away the pattern. And now we're just sitting here like, what's going on? What do I want to do now? And here's the thing, right? In Christianity, there's this saying, the battle is already won. In other words, that Jesus came to the earth, fought the devil, and won the battle. And the battle being that humanity, right, can receive God, connect with God, ascend to heaven, that sort of thing. Well, what if the battle is already won? Okay. Now here's the thing. There's the offer to reconnect with these ancient energies. So even though the battle's already won, we individually and personally, we have work to do, right? Because it's up to each of us to say, no, I'm not going back to that. I choose something new. I do not consent to what this represents. So there's work for us to do on an individual level, right? But as you are doing the work, I feel that it's possible that God could sweep away, divinity can sweep away the worst of it from us. Now, is there a process of going through that? Is there work to do? Is there attention to focus and life to live? Yes. And doing those things assists us in achieving the highest outcomes, right? Because I think we need to step up and say, this is what I want. We need to vote. But the voting is not just at the ballot box, which of course we should do. The voting is in one's own heart. What is your alignment? Choose now.